Are you planning, or is Trump planning to send the National Guard to every city? Is he going to send it to Aurora, Colorado, which has a Republican mayor and a higher crime rate, violent crime rate than D.C.? Is he going to send it to every city? This is not sustainable, Leland. You're smarter than Donald Trump.
I hope he sends it to St. Louis.
What's up, y'all? Mehdi Hasan just put on another debate clinic as he went on MAGA host Leland Vitter's show on NewsNation. It got so heated and Mehdi whipped on him so bad that Leland quit his own show. Well, at least he kicked Mehdi off. He didn't quit like he's not doing the show ever again. But this is worth the watch. Let's watch these clips and I'll give my thoughts on it afterwards.
The DC cops want help. What is the right of the mayor and others to say, no, they don't need it?
Last time I checked, Leland, we're in a democracy, so that's the right of the mayor and the people to say that. I mean, DC actually is not part of our democracy, right? The people of DC have been disenfranchised for a long time. That's a whole separate discussion that we don't have time for tonight about home rule and control by Congress and the fact that they don't have members of Congress, et cetera, et cetera.
But
DC
Trump has the right to do this, so we've agreed on that. So
Trump has a legal right to send troops, and he doesn't have a right to interfere in the government, which he's now trying to do. Only Congress does. But, you know, let's just take this one by one. Statistics that you don't like. The statistics do show that crime is down, violent crime is down in D.C. These are FBI statistics as well as city statistics, as well as every stat out there. It's at a 30-year low, violent crime in Washington, D.C. It's down 35% last year, and as you said, 26% this year. You know who bragged? Leland, you know who bragged that crime is down in D.C. by 26% in April of this year?
I'm sure you're going to say Trump did, but I have no idea.
Trump did, yeah, Trump did. They took credit. They said, "Look, crime's down." Ken Martin,
look,
his acting attorney. No, it's important because when they wanted to show the statistics in their favor, they did. Look, it's down. Crime is down in D.C. Homicides are down in D.C.
I think, Mehdi, you're making a mistake here because you're making a mistake here because it doesn't matter whether it's up or down. It was at a high and out of control during the pandemic. Yes. Whether it's up or down is irrelevant. The fact of the matter is it still happens. Okay, we have video from Friday night where a mob of kids took over a store and looted it. We have video from about a week ago where they beat up this mob of 15-year-olds were carjacking somebody, beat somebody up, almost killed them. What about their rights? I'm still trying to understand why, if you're a law-abiding citizen, more police is a bad idea.
But it's not more police, right? It's the National Guard. Fire more police. Did you know that the Trump administration just cut $20 million in security funding to D.C., which is weird because apparently crime is out of control. When you say it doesn't matter whether it's up or down, it does. Some of us believe in truth and facts. When you say, you know, crime should be stopped, of course crime should be stopped, but this is not the solution. Are you planning, or is Trump planning to send the National Guard to every city? Is he going to send it to Aurora, Colorado, which has a Republican mayor and a higher crime rate, violent crime rate than D.C.? Is he going to send it to every city? This is not sustainable, Leland. You're smarter than Donald Trump.
He sends it to St. Louis.
You can't solve the crime problem by sending the National Guard. We're Americans. We don't like the military on our streets.
That last part right there just exposed them completely. When given an opportunity to say, I don't care where he sends them, I want anywhere that has a high violent crime rate to see the National Guard. Because I believe in that policy. If he would have said that, then they would have been having a principled debate. But Leland isn't doing that. He just said, no, that's a white city. You know where there's black people though? St. Louis. Come on. Mehdi gave him the perfect opportunity to be an adult, and he chose to be a sycophantic baby. It's very pathetic. And as you see here, Trump doesn't care about no damn crime rate. He's a criminal. All his friends are criminals. He doesn't care about no crime rate. He only cares about controlling population and being able to send the National Guard to do his bidding. And they're gonna do it because that's what they want to do. And if you think, well, it's only in DC and it's only with homeless people and black people that are over there, you think that's not gonna happen to you? You think you're so far removed from being homeless? And what happens when he does round up all these homeless people? Where do they go next? Rounding them up to send to where? To our concentration camps? What happens when they get filled up? Eventually, he's gonna run out of solutions for homeless people and get to the final one. Because that's how that works. When we think about what happened in the 1940s in Germany, we only think about their last solution, their final solution. But there was a bunch of ideas and previous solutions that didn't quite work as well as they wanted to until they got to the final one. And it started with homeless people back then too, where they gassed it and said, oh my goodness, the crime, even though the numbers literally, while he's announcing it, show otherwise. And like Mehdi said, he bragged about the numbers going down. The crime rate is going down, and now he's saying, I'm not gonna release no files, but what I could do is start martial law. It's crazy that people like Leland Vittert are on TV. But at the end of the day, he got hired because he's willing to manufacture consent.
Tin pot dictatorship. We should be able to sort out crime through law enforcement, through policy, which Donald Trump doesn't seem to care about.
So let's put the National Guard aside. Let's put the National Guard aside. What's wrong with having?
I'm not going to put the National Guard aside because it's quite important. It's at the core of this. This is about Trump wanting to do a power grab. This is about Trump's obsession with the military. You can pretend it's about. You think it's because Trump cares about crime in D.C. Really? Because I remember Donald Trump on January the 6th, 2021, not giving a crap about crime in D.C.
Now verb January 6th. Okay,
sorry,
Mehdi, no, Mehdi, come on.
Let me finish my point. This is a short segment.
I know you said that. 150 police officers got hurt.
Hold on. You gave Bill O'Reilly a lot of time. Let me give an answer. I'm here for much shorter time. Let me speak. On January 6, 2021, you may want to move on for it. We all watched police officers in D.C. being attacked by a Trump-supporting mob, 150 injured, 600 people convicted.
Mehdi, you're going to sit here. We know the statistics of January 6th. Mehdi, you're going to sit here. Mehdi, you're going to sit here. Mehdi, you're going to sit here and say if Trump cures cancer, then January 6th was terrible. Okay, the fact of the matter is you can't have an argument. You can't have an argument about what's happening on the streets of D.C. without going back to January 6th.
Because it's about
you won't talk about actually the crime.
Donald Trump, Leland. No,
it's not. It's about how to have people be safe.
I said to you, Donald Trump doesn't care about crime in D.C. You said, yes, he does. And I said, I'm going to give you evidence to prove he doesn't. If he cared about crime in D.C., why did he pardon 600 people who assaulted police officers? You can't come and make this emotional claim.
Oh, come on, Mehdi. You can't. You're talking about completely different things.
You don't actually care about crime, then.
You cannot talk about this. There's completely different things going on.
Why?
What do you mean either I care about crime or I don't?
Where was the National Guard? Where was the National Guard on January 6th, 2021
come on. You can't do no. This is silly.
Day.
This is absolutely silly, Mehdi. You can't do this.
Why?
No, because it has nothing to do with what's happening or what the arguments are right now. Okay? And you can't. No, it has nothing to do with it.
Crime matters in D.C. The victims of crime matter in D.C. What about the cops in D.C.?
And I'm the only person who died on January 6th was a Trump supporter. And you can't talk about what's happening on the streets right now.
Let me know when you want me to speak.
No, you can't talk about you cannot talk about this without talking about January 6th or anything else. You won't have an argument on the merits. Mehdi, thank you as always.
Oh, nah. See? Running only makes you look like a coward because you could have just addressed what he was saying, but Leland knows that he couldn't. If Trump actually cared about, oh my goodness, criminals in Washington, D.C., he wouldn't have pardoned 600 of them. So it's all a lie. And Leland knows better. It's one thing to not know better and just being ignorant and being a regular guy who's just moving on through life trying to survive. I don't have no problem with that. But this guy has a show where he covers the news and he's trying to inform people, but all he does is propaganda. So he knows better and is purposefully misleading people. These people are way worse than anybody else. I'm so glad Mehdi is able to make these people quit on their own show. Even when Leland tried to do his patented now, don't worry about that. Let's move on. We saw him do the same trick against Cenk Uygur, and it didn't work then, and it didn't work now. He has to find better moves because this is not good enough. His defense is terrible. But if you want to see another example of Mehdi Hasan putting the belt to somebody, click this video. Peace.